Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Andrew Olson. You are watching a classic cinema review of The Inner Circle. It's murder. At the scene of the crime, black-gloved hands check the phone book for Johnny Strange, private investigator of Action Incorporated. Later, Johnny Strange is phoning in a help wanted ad for the ultimate secretary. The ad is promptly answered before Johnny finishes placing it by attractive, blonde, quick-witted Geraldine Smith, Jerry for short. A call comes in for a job that isn't specified but requires Johnny to sit in his parked car in front of Tilden's jewelry store at 10 p.m. He does, reluctantly, and is met by a mysterious, unnamed woman dressed in black, her face covered by a veil. Her instructions are to drive to 183 Oak Drive. The address is a residence that is also home to a murder scene. The murder victim is apparently the woman's husband, and she wants Johnny to hide the body. Shocked, Johnny declines and is promptly knocked unconscious. The woman removes her veil and is none other than Jerry, Johnny's new secretary. We're only 11 minutes into the movie, folks. Sit tight. Unseen by Jerry is the face of a man outside the window watching her movements. When the police arrive, Lieutenant Webb immediately assumes Johnny is guilty. He is the most likely suspect until Jerry enters as herself with a perfect, albeit false, eyewitness statement letting Johnny off the hook. The murder victim is popular radio personality Anthony Fitch, who rubbed many people wrong by uncovering their dirty secrets and reporting them on his radio program. He also worked for the local newspaper. Two more suspects enter promptly. The first is Fitch's secretary, Mrs. Wilson, and then Boggs, the gardener, who is the face outside the window. Despite knowing Jerry's secret after seeing her through the window, Boggs doesn't mention it to the police. The following day, Johnny is agitated, stuck between the consequences of obstructing justice or possibly going to jail on a false murder charge. Johnny and Jerry return to 183 Oak Drive to look for clues. A talk with Boggs reveals Mrs. Wilson left for a new job. That is, until she turns up looking for back pay owed to her by Fitch. Lieutenant Webb isn't far behind, asking more questions, but comes up empty-handed. Johnny, however, finds a record in the wastebasket of Fitch's office. The next day, Boggs stops by Action Incorporated. He presents Jerry with her disguise that she disposed of when she set Johnny up 2 days before. She pays him off discreetly before Johnny arrives at the office. The record leads Johnny to a tough but beautiful songbird by the name of Rhoda, who works locally at the Penguin Club. She knew Fitch. She sold him some material for his column, but then he got greedy, so Rhoda ended the relationship. Just as Rhoda is getting to the juicy parts of the conversation, Johnny takes another knockout blow to the back of the head. He wakes up in the back seat of club owner Duke York's car. Duke admits that he knows Johnny didn't kill Fitch. Neither did Rhoda nor himself. Rhoda's romance with Fitch was an annoyance, but nothing more. Duke even admits that he went to see Fitch, but Fitch was already dead when he arrived. He even claims to have a witness to this fact. Duke's innocence are in question, however, when he refuses to let Johnny go. Fortunately, Jerry and Lieutenant Webb prevent Johnny from making a permanent deep-water dive off the jetty of Inspiration Point. Johnny learns from Fitch's sponsor that Fitch has, or had, I should say, an upper-crust secret to reveal for his next radio broadcast, but it's not known what it was. Back in Fitch's study, Johnny and Jerry find the elusive secret, which has been hidden in plain sight all along. Johnny manages to learn part of it involving a notorious bank robber and a mysterious blonde who fled the scene of the crime when the crook was killed. A seemingly honest accident, however, destroys the other portion of the secret. Johnny has been putting the pieces together, but with little hard evidence. The only thing to do is to bring all of the suspects together and present the facts through a radio dramatization in lieu of Fitch's usual show, so as to make the murderer reveal him or herself live over the airwaves. It's a whodunit, folks. The Inner Circle is a B-movie, a comedy murder mystery that is both clever and well written for an otherwise low-budget film. There are enough twists and turns to leave the viewer satisfied by the end of the credits without said viewer wondering why more wasn't included. There are a few standout twists on the standard whodunit that make it more of a unique mystery film. Adele Mara's secret character, Jerry, is a great example. Which reminds me, I forgot the cast. Let's run down the cast real fast. Adele Mara, Warren Douglas, William Frawley, Ricardo Cortez, Virginia Christine, Ken Niles, Will Wright, Dorothy Adams, Martha Montgomery, Edward Gargan, Fred Graham, Eddie Parker, and Bob Wilk. The acting in this movie was really, really well done. The cast was well picked. They played off each other convincingly well with that chemistry that one would expect to keep the audience engaged all the way through the film. There's sharp, snappy dialogue that was well timed with solid delivery from the actors. The humor was prevalent but not overdone and did not detract from the story. Incidentally, the story is a touch on the far-fetched side and isn't supposed to be taken seriously. It is a comedy, of course. The standout performances, I have to say, it's always a pleasure to see William Frawley. I don't think I've ever seen a disappointing performance from him. Unfortunately, I wish that he was in a couple more scenes, but he did a good job. Adele Mara, who plays Jerry, and Warren Douglas, who plays Johnny Strange, they play off each other really well. They have excellent chemistry, and they really keep this film, for a comedy, grounded. I also liked, I think it was Will Wright who played Boggs. Boggs is sort of a slow-witted guy who doesn't have a hearing problem, but it almost seemed like he does. He played that character really well, too. The direction worked well for the scenes in this movie. There was nothing groundbreaking or extravagant about it. There's really nothing extravagant about anything in this movie, but it all worked, and the movie is seamless all the way through, which is great. The music, there isn't a lot of music in this one either. Just enough to accentuate the particular emotions or moods of a particular scene, and what little of it there is does work for the movie. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a lack of character development in this one. Granted, the movie is only 56 or 57 minutes long. It's just under an hour, so I wouldn't expect a lot of character development or backstory for most of the characters, but a little bit more would have been nice. And I'll get to a little bit more on that topic in just a minute. There was also more off-camera investigation than I could appreciate or would appreciate. Admittedly, that is the quickest way to move a story forward, but it also detracts from the story as well. Now, I'll give you an example. The scene where Johnny gets information from Fitch's sponsor is off-camera, and then he goes and tells Jerry about it later. That moved the pace of the movie along, and the movie does have a decent pace. It never really loses steam anywhere. However, I wanted to see that scene instead of just hearing about it from Johnny in terms of him telling it in dialogue, because it would have given us a bit more background or backstory to the murder victim, Fitch. And there really wasn't a whole lot to go on. Granted, you didn't really need a whole lot. He stirred things up in town and made a lot of enemies. Obviously, he's got enemies, so somebody bumped him off. That makes sense. But talking with Fitch's sponsor would have given the audience a bit more emotional connection with not just the murder victim, but whoever murdered him. And I think that was unfortunately missed. Plus, there could have been the possibility of the sponsor being a suspect as well. I'm guessing the budget had something to do with these issues, but it's not detrimental to the movie, which is good. All in all, though, the movie had a decent pace, and the information that was needed for the mystery to unfold is present. Overall, less is more, and this movie is the perfect example of that. There's nothing extravagant about it, but it has everything it needs and moves along at a decent, solid pace to satisfy somebody who just wants to watch an hour of entertainment. And if you're looking for solid entertainment, I don't think you can really do much better than this, especially with what's on television nowadays. So I'm going to give this one 2 thumbs up. I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. If the movie had had a slightly bigger budget and had a little bit more character development and a couple more scenes, which may have actually slowed the movie down, admittedly, but with those extra things, I probably would have given this a 5-star rating. So there you go. I got to thank Jerry over at drmacro.com. Once again, he came through with some excellent images, posters, and pictures of the actors and whatnot. Thank you, Jerry. It takes me a while to get these out. Unfortunately, I've been very busy lately. But I do have more coming. Thank you, Jerry, for coming through with these so quickly. Check more stuff such as this out at drmacro.com if you're interested in such things. And if you contact Jerry, let him know that you came over because you saw one of my reviews. And of course, I have to thank all of you for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more coming soon. Share it with your friends and leave me a comment down below. Thank you once again, and I look forward to seeing all of you in my next Classic Cinema review.